Okay, so are we good? Can you see uh, my screen?
You bet.
Yep, everything looks good.
Okay, great. So yeah, so again, hello everyone. Thanks for being here. Today I will be providing a brief overview of generative AI. I've dedicated many years to helping Canadian small businesses grow and compete uh, through the adoption of digital tools and technologies. And when generative AI became popular like in 2022, I just saw that as another digital tool that small businesses should be aware of and should try to take advantage of. So I'm really excited to explore today with you ways that you can potentially use generative AI. So yeah, a brief intro. My name is Lorenzo Gonzalez, and I am based in Toronto, but I am originally from Belize. And I'm mentioning Belize because I don't miss any opportunity to promote my home country because I really love Belize and and I think it's such a great place. So it's actually will come full circle. I'll mention Belize a little bit in the middle of the presentation, and you will perhaps get a good laugh from what I'm going to be sharing. Yeah, so I have a master's degree in economic development and innovation from the University of Waterloo, and I've been at Digital Main Street since 2019. For anyone that doesn't know, Digital Main Street is a nonprofit that partners with organizations across Canada to deliver digital adoption programs for small businesses. In Alberta, we have two programs. One is the Canada Digital Adoption Program, and the other one is the Digital Economy Program, where we partner with a bunch of community futures organizations, chambers of commerce, and business support organizations to deliver boots on the ground support for small businesses, where a business owner can come into an office or have a virtual meeting with a digital service squad member, and they work one-on-one to help improve their business through digital tools. So yeah, on today's agenda, I will be discussing, what is generative AI, why it should matter for a small business, AI usage in Canadian businesses at the moment. I'll jump into like ChatGPT and prompting best practices, and this is just I'll be talking about ChatGPT because it is the most popular generative AI tool at the moment, and I think it's one that you definitely should be trying or exploring with and at the moment. And if you haven't, then you should do so at the end of this presentation. Yeah, some challenges and concerns, tips on how to implement AI in your business, and then we'll end with some key takeaways. So yeah, what is generative AI? To begin, first, I want to share with you like the definition of artificial intelligence as a whole. AI is the ability for computers to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence. So what does that mean? So a computer program that is able to learn, reason, can self-correct, and has creativity. For a long time, people thought that would never be possible, and they would always have these sci-fi movies thinking that would talk about a robot or a computer that is able to reason, and they thought that was so out of the world, out of this world. Well, thanks to generative AI, we have platforms now that you can just have a normal conversation with. And it was a bit freaky when it just came out like a few years ago, but now it's like it feels normal. Anyway, generative AI is a subset of artificial intelligence, and that focuses on primarily like creating and generating new and unique content based on patterns and examples from existing data. And an easy example of this would be how ChatGPT works. What happened is that ChatGPT was fed information from across the internet. And once it was fed that information, it was able to identify patterns and be able to understand how people speak and what people are interested in. And it was able to respond to questions that you can respond to questions that you now ask it based on what it learned from the internet. And as it progresses, like the more it learns, the smarter it becomes, and more advanced. And on the right here, I share a photo of a headline where, and there was a fake AI song by Drake and The Weeknd that came out in April 2023, I believe. As you know, everyone in Toronto was going crazy about this song when they heard it. It was like, oh wow, two of our favorite artists from Toronto were doing an amazing collaboration. And then, a few months later, we found out that it was actually fake. Like, their voices were cloned, and the entire song was made through a generative AI algorithm, which is kind of wild to think about it now. I don't know if anyone here was able to like listen to the song, but it does sound like it's them. So yeah, we have 4 popular types of generative AI, and that's what I want you to leave today with, knowing that, okay, so there's 4 like main categories. There's a lot more, but like these are 4 that I think you should be on your radar and you should be exploring or thinking about as a small business owner. And the first one is text, and then the other one is image, followed by audio, and then video. And I'll touch a little bit into each of these now. So text, simply, if you, it's the computer program is able to produce natural language, and you can carry like a human-like conversation with it. And if you look back at my intro slide where I mentioned what is artificial intelligence, it's that what it was like. It's when a computer can actually learn, reason, self-correct, and has creativity. Well, I went to ChatGPT and I simply said, can you give me emojis for that? And and it's able to like really well spit it out within seconds. It was able to tell me, okay, yeah, so for learning, let's use the emoji books. It represents studying and gaining knowledge. For reasoning, let's use the brain emoji because it represents thinking and cognitive processes. For self-correction, what about the repeat button? Because that signifies the process of revisioning and improving oneself. And for creativity, it has an artist palette. So I don't know if you find that interesting, but I definitely am like, wow, this is like so cool, and I'm able to like just have a regular conversation with a computer program like this. But in business, how can you use ChatGPT? How can you use text generators? Well, you can use it for simply like writing blog posts. You can use it, to market research. For example, like I was able to, in ChatGPT, there's actually a section where you can create your own GPT. You can create your own chatbot. And I was able to build my own chatbot, and it's called Business Plan Builder. And assists people with creating a business plan. I created this maybe, I don't know, like maybe in September, November last year. And I just published it to the internet. And anyone that has a ChatGPT Pro subscription can use this chatbot and test their ideas, try to develop a business plan. And as you can see here, like, over 800 people have used it. Well, over 800 people have rated it, and it has a 4.4 rating out of 5. I think that's pretty good, right? That's a pass. And it has over 10,000 users. And it's interesting because I just created this for fun. And this is actually what I recommend everyone to do. I recommend that you, with generative AI, you just try different things, explore. And exactly, I'm preaching what I say, what I recommend. And then, some businesses use the text generators as a chatbot. And an example I'm giving here is Wealthsimple. Yeah, they have like a virtual assistant which complements their human support, business customer support. So while while just employees are on the clock, responding to questions between 9 to 6 p.m. on weekdays, this virtual assistant, so this chatbot, is available 24/7. And I tested this out because I had a few questions about moving money around, and I was surprised how accurate it was. I actually didn't need a human support at the end. And the only reason I don't post that chat specifically because then you'll know how much money I have. Yeah, so the other category is image. So yeah, basically image generators are computer programs that create visual content such as pictures and graphs. Right here, I actually used DALL-E, which is a part of ChatGPT now, to say, hey, can you create a robot eating a hamburger? And this is what it gave me. And I was like, oh, actually, since I finished my burger, now I want a beer. It's able to create this in seconds. I don't know about you, but like before, like you would need to have graphic design skills to be able to create something like this. But even if you had the skills, how quickly it's able to do these things now is one thing that surprises me on a regular basis, and I'm always shocked. And you might ask, okay, but what is the business use case of something like this? An easy example is that if you run an interior design business, sometimes you want to showcase. You can take a photo of someone's house, the living room space or whatever, and using one of these programs, you'd be able to like test out different combinations of like of furniture or color palettes of different colors that might work for this person, and then you can present this as a portfolio to an individual for them to choose which path they want to take. And it's something that would happen so quickly, and before you'd have to use maybe more advanced tools and not just like something that is pretty available to anyone. And then there's generative AI, audio, which this is used to produce auditory content such as voices, music, and sound effects. And one that I wanted to show you was this generative AI tool called Suno, and it basically can create a song for you in a matter of minutes. And you just type into the box, so you prompt and tell it, okay, what type of song you want, and it's able to come up with a song with a beat. There's the lyrics and everything, and it's usually you can even edit it based on like your taste. And this is why I mentioned earlier that I was gonna bring back Belize and why and promote it a little bit more. And here's like in this next slide, you'll see what I mean. And if you have sound, you might want to like make sure that it's on or it's not on full blast right now, because I'm gonna play a song right now. So okay, and let me know what you think of the song in the chat. In the land of sunshine and Caribbean breeze lies a tropical gem, an island paradise with ease.
I can't really hear it, Lorenzo.
Oh, you can't hear it?
Not really. I don't know for anybody else's. Maybe can you turn it up a little more? Or?
Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll play it again. What did people hear it?
No, we had comments that other people can't hear it. The volume's too low.
Okay, I'll play it now again.
Okay.
Oh.
That's better.
Love it. So captivating, it's where I long to be. From the Mayan ruins to the barrier reefs. We're all headed there now.
See? Okay, yeah, no, yeah, I made that song in a matter of minutes. I simply typed into this generative AI program. I was like, um, sing. I want a song about Belize being a paradise destination, and this was the song it gave me, and I made it in March 28th. Yeah, so last month. Yeah, I mean, and what you might ask, like, oh, as a business, how can you use this? Well, I mean, if you're in the audio, you can use it for perhaps like a social media clip. You can use it for, I don't know, maybe an intro for a podcast. Different things you can explore, and that's the whole point. That's the whole point I'm trying to share with you, that generative AI has multiple uses, and a lot of them might you might have to dream up yet and just come up and try and explore and experiment. But I know the category of audio generative AI is like what some people are using it for is for to transcribe customer calls. And let's say, for example, like you have like you have a I don't know, customer call center, and then people are calling you, and you're able to do like a complaint analysis really quickly by just like pressing a button and being like, okay, tell me the mood, what is the tone of this caller, what is the main concerns, and then you're able to get a summary that tells you exactly, like, potential next steps you can do. And something else that some people are using this for is like just to create like high quality podcasts, and maybe identify and authenticate colors. There's a lot of different ways that you can use audio generators. So yeah, moving on to video. So this is typically, video generators are typically used to create video content, and it's for like marketing, training, and customer service. And I'm sharing an example here of like a generative AI tool that I have used before, where you simply choose an avatar and you type into it what you want it to say, and it's able to like record the entire video for you. So like maybe you can use this for your onboarding your new staff. I don't know, or maybe for an advert. Um, I know what I tend to use Descript, which is another one for, is that I actually when I record a video, I upload it to Descript, and it transcribes everything, and then I'm able to edit the video through text. So I no longer need to be experienced video editor. All I need to do is like delete a certain word, and I can even replace it because it records my voice, and I can replace it like on demand, and replace like if I said a word wrong or something. Or I often say often, like and yeah, a product like Descript, like an AI tool like Descript, is able to like remove that automatically, all the ums and ahs and any words that you would like to get rid of. So yeah, but why does this matter for business? I think that's like the question that is on everyone's mind, especially anyone that's here today. And simply put, I'll say that the reason why you need to care about generative AI is because it has the potential of being a general purpose technology, like the steam engine and computer, where eventually it will be integrated into so many other things in the economy that you should get on board now to take advantage of it, to be able to be one of the first adopters, right? And it is reported that there are many reports that showcase that it's going to have a transformational impact in the world economy over the next decades, where it's going to be boosting labor productivity by 2 to 3% per year. And we know this is important because over the past years, past decade, especially here, I know in Canada, we've had like productivity stagnation. So this will in particularly come in handy for our economy, but also so that we can compete against the US or elsewhere. And I have a quote here by Jamie Dimon. I don't know if anyone here knows who that is, but he's the CEO of JP Morgan and Chase in the US. And he says that the effects of perfecting steam power will pale in comparison to generative AI. And the main reason for this is because adopting a new technology has never been this fast. And of course, it's a general purpose technology. So yeah, so has there been mass adoption? Well, we know by the average consumer, I'll say yes, right? So worldwide interest in generative AI is extremely high. It's actually, at 100, which is peak popularity on Google searches. So, and if we compare that towards against other trends, other technological trends, like for example, virtual reality or Internet of Things, everyone's talking about it and how it's going to impact the economy and business, but has it actually been, has it actually permeated and just traveled across the economy? Do you know people that are actually doing it? No, but think about AI. Like, you're sitting at a table with friends or with family. There's one way they're going to be talking about generative AI, ChatGPT or something. And the reason for it is because it's not, a trend that's going to happen. It's already here, right? So another proof of this is that when ChatGPT launched, and back in November 2022, it just took 5 days for it to reach 1 million users. And just 2 months later, in January 2023, it already had 100 active users. And at the moment, it has 180 million users from across 185 countries. So that's actually on a weekly basis that now they're using ChatGPT. And that's pretty extraordinary. But should businesses be concerned? The answer for this is can be subjective, or because I want to promote AI usage, because I believe in the technology and I believe that small businesses should be adopting digital tools, more digital tools. But what do we see what do we see out there? What do we see in the news? Well, one of them is that businesses are concerned because there are issues. So one simple issue is that we heard that sometimes generative AI can make up stuff or give wrong responses, and we know that in the news we saw that Air Canada, for example, was found liable for its chatbot providing wrong advice to individuals. So this individual ended up taking got wrong advice from the chatbot and bought a ticket for $800, and then when he found out he couldn't be refunded for the $800, he took Air Canada to court, and in the end, Air Canada had to pay that, but and pay the $800. But honestly, like for the benefits, I don't think that was such a huge risk or concern, because a simple way how Air Canada could have gotten ahead of this would have been to have a disclaimer saying, hey, actually, this chatbot may sometimes make things up, or we are constantly training the chatbot and trying to make it better, but sometimes you need to verify anything that it says. What's so wrong with saying that? Anyway, even though businesses are concerned, we do see that there's continued investment in the technology. And as proof, let's look at the graph on the right. And this is a graph from The Economist, where they wrote an article about actually adoption across the US, Canada, Britain, Germany, and France. And what they found is that since 2022, if you look at Indeed.com, and the number of job postings that mention generative AI has steadily been increasing, to the point that as of January 2024, it was 12% of job postings in Canada mentioned generative AI. So as you may know, like some businesses may be saying, that they're not investing in generative AI, but the data says differently. And this is something I'm actually going to touch on more later. Yeah. So what is the state of AI usage in Canada? Well, thanks to Stats Canada, we know that that almost 10% of businesses in Canada are using generative AI as of February 2024. So they ran a survey where they looked at the use of businesses' use of generative AI, and were able to collect really interesting information from businesses across the country. So yeah, I'd say that's pretty good, because so that's almost 1 in 10 businesses that are using generative AI, and that's just over the past year. So in 2023, that's like been the adoption. That's, think about it, like how many other businesses, like if you're in a room with 10 business owners, that means one of those business owners is already using generative AI in their business. But I actually think that this number is higher, because I know a lot of employees are using generative AI as, oh, you know, that they are paying for it, or they are, it's not a part of the company, but they're just like using it to supplement their work. So it is, I believe, this stat is actually misrepresented. It's actually higher. I would say maybe like it's being used in like 25% of businesses already. And I think a key takeaway here would be simple, that yeah, it's not a niche. It's like businesses are already investing in generative AI, and if you're a business that hasn't explored this yet, like, you don't want to get left behind. And then if we dig deeper into the businesses that are using generative AI, what we notice is a few things. So one is there's an urban-rural divide, and then the larger the business, the more likely it is that they're using generative AI. So yeah, so if a business has 100 or more employees, they're at 15% that they actually said that they've implemented it within their organization. So if you're a small business, especially from a rural area, you should be exploring ways on how you can get on board ASAP and gain a competitive advantage. Yeah, and if you're wondering what sector these businesses are in, so primarily it's in the information and cultural industries. So that includes tech and media companies, and video production. This is followed by professional services, finance, and real estate. And what one takeaway from this chart would be, that this graph would be that you notice the industry groups that are more likely to have adopted AI are within the, you know, the where generative AI is, the categories of generative AI that I shared with you earlier, which is like words, text, you know, there's images, numbers, and sounds. Yeah, and when these businesses were asked like how are they using generative AI, they responded with the following. So they primarily, so this is like 69% of the time, they're using generative AI for content development. So that's like to do social media posts, to write blogs, basically marketing as a whole, creating content. And then the second highest was increasing automation. But something I want to stress here is that they're increasing automation in tasks, but with no job loss. And how does that look? Think back to the example I gave you of the chatbot by Wealthsimple. They still keep their customer service staff, but now they just have a chatbot that is available, you know, 24/7. So they are integrating it into their company and just making them, you know, making them more productive and improving the customer service without necessarily letting go staff. And then the third most popular way they're using generative AI is to improve customer service. This is followed by cost efficiencies and data-driven decision making. So yeah, when we look at this, when we dive deeper into how businesses by employment sides are using generative AI, what we find, or at least what I've discovered, is fascinating for me, and I think this is something that you should definitely focus on. And that is that, okay, we know that like the larger businesses are investing more in AI, but also they're using it for more diverse ways. And while small businesses, the smaller the business is, the more likely it is to just using it for content creation. Look at what the larger businesses are using it for. They're using it, I don't know, primarily to increase automation without job loss. They're using it for cost efficiencies. They're using it to improve customer service. They're using it to, make better decisions through data, and they're also using it to develop content. So if there's any like major takeaway I would say from this graph, it's like, I'm pointing you in the right direction of things that you should explore. Like, okay, these are a few things that are working already for businesses, for especially large businesses that are more competitive. Why not start there? It's like I'm giving you a cheat sheet, basically. Okay, so now that we've discussed like the AI usage in Canada, let's just briefly go into ChatGPT and prompting basics. And I'm gonna cover a little about ChatGPT just because I know it's the most popular generative AI tool, and I think it's where I believe a lot of people should start. So yeah, so what is ChatGPT? I'll actually play this video. It doesn't have a sound, but it will. You will see that I actually asked ChatGPT what it does. Yeah, so right there, what it said was ChatGPT is a computer program that understands and responds to human language. It can answer questions, write stories, and have conversations with people. And yeah, so that's what ChatGPT is, and it is used for for a lot of different. It has a lot of different uses, and I will cover some of these right now. So one, like I mentioned, like it's great for content creation. And how can you use this? So you can find, like, as a small business owner, you can find out what are important things customers may be interested in. Remember, ChatGPT has information from the entire internet. So it understands, the landscape of culture or what people are interested in, primarily in the US and North America. So you can simply ask questions like, oh, this is my audience. Like, you can just type in, let it know your audience, like your ideal customer, and then you can be like, give me a recommendation on things that I can improve my business. You can also, you can update or rewrite your content that you already have. I actually use this often. I might be, my writing might be a little verbose, like I write too much, like use a little bit too many adjectives or something, and I would just simply tell ChatGPT, hey, make this more concise. Pretty simple. Or sometimes when I'm replying to an email and I want to convey something specifically, I would ask ChatGPT to tell me to read the previous email and tell me how I should respond. Like, what is the tone of the person? Like, and what is the best way I can get across the message I want? And I do this really often, and I know that many people, I know many other people that are doing the same thing. So yeah, you can easily, again, generate blog post titles. You can you come up with blog post ideas. ChatGPT is perfect for brainstorming. That's like one of the best uses of it. And you can create social media scripts, very quickly. Of course, get SEO support. I'm actually I would consider myself an SEO expert. I've been doing SEO for like 15 years, and this is one of the primary ways how I use ChatGPT. So I have like 10 years worth of knowledge and context about what works for SEO. So as you can imagine, I just work so much faster with ChatGPT because I'm able to ask questions and refine refine the output based on continuously refine the output based on like its responses. And then I'm like, oh, but did you think about this? Or did you think about that? And eventually the end result is very impressive. Yeah, so another way how some people use ChatGPT is to easily be able to find formulas. So if you usually are tackling Excel, documents, and you forget the formula because you learned it in high school, well, simply ask ChatGPT and it's going to tell you exactly what to do. And this is great. I mean, we could always do this by just typing in Google search and finding the formula before. But now you have someone you can actually have a conversation with, and you can adjust it. You can make sure you adjust things just by by typing in the different inputs. Yeah. Another thing that you can use ChatGPT for is to quickly analyze and summarize information. So in this example, I follow I follow, like, on social media, I follow an influencer that goes around Toronto asking the top chefs what their favorite restaurants are in Toronto. And this influencer in their URL, they actually share a link so that you can go to their Google Docs and download that information. I visited that link. I downloaded the document and was like, okay, I want to find out what are the top recommendations. Instead of me doing the analysis, I just quickly uploaded that information into ChatGPT, and I asked it, based on frequency of recommendations, tell me what are the top places to eat in Toronto. And here was the list. It ranked Pizzeria Badiali's #1 because it was recommended 15 times. And then there was Burger Drops and then Adulis Restaurant. The one thing I need to mention here is that I actually don't think Pizzeria Badiali's is the best in Toronto. So I think this could also be subjective, right? And then the other thing that I did ask, it was like, after I found out the top restaurants, I was like, and what about the cafes? Like, what are the top recommended cafes? And then, it was able to spit that out really quickly, which is like very impressive, as you can imagine. Okay. It can also help with basic website updates. In this example right here, I just needed to add extra padding to a photo on the Digital Main Street website, and on the Toronto BIA website, and it simply just I told ChatGPT what the issue was, and it told me how to solve it. It gave me the code. Yeah, and you could also create drafts of best practices, and this is one of the best. This is one of the uses that I like the best. Although you have to be conscious of that this is a draft. This is never the final output, right? So right here, I told ChatGPT to act as a CEO of a financial institution in Alberta and create an outline of a generative AI usage at work policy. I told it to keep it brief because I didn't want it to be extremely long, and then for it to wait for me to add input in case I wanted to make any changes. So, but here was the result, and it's pretty good. Like, it gives you an outline of what it considers the most important things. But even better yet, when you can go and edit the document, you can edit this. You can respond to ChatGPT and be like, okay, actually, but I want you to focus more on intellectual property, or I want you to think more, go deeper into data security and privacy. But again, ChatGPT has read the entire internet, right? If you want something like a policy, a work, like AI usage at work policy, or if you want some other best practice template, it probably has an example that it's read thousands of examples out there, and it probably will be able to provide good recommendations. Yeah, and then of course, another way how some people are using ChatGPT is as a 24/7 tutor for their kids. So helping their kids with their homework, it's really good at math, and it's really good at identifying different things. So I don't have kids, so I'm not using it for that. But if you have kids and you want to help them with their homework, you no longer have to worry about it, and that you can just simply use ChatGPT. Okay, so now jumping into the prompt section, like I'll just like briefly like say that. So prompts are a key aspect of generative AI, and the better the prompt, the better the output. So you've probably heard garbage in, garbage out. The phrase garbage in, garbage out. So that's basically what it means. Like the better you're able to speak to generative AI tools, the better the result will be, and that just makes sense. And a prompt specifically is a verbal or written instruction that you give to an AI tool to perform a specific task. And these instructions or guidelines should be clear and specific to ensure the tool understands what it expects, what is expected from it. So here's an example of a prompt. So here is me asking ChatGPT, can you give me a few examples of how ChatGPT can be used by small businesses regarding digital transformation? And the response is the answer, right? If I wanted a response, if my business was I don't know, it was a pawn shop, I don't know or a coffee shop, instead of just saying, can you give me a few examples of how it can be used for small businesses, I would specifically say coffee shop, so that it knows what it has enough context. So yeah, a few things to consider when prompting is that, one, you have to ask, have you defined the role that for ChatGPT to play? So this is called like a persona or role playing, and simply you should tell ChatGPT, act as a blank. So if you saw the example I gave earlier about the AI at work usage policy that I had it draft up, in that situation, I put act as a CEO of a financial institution. See, that was me giving ChatGPT a role to play. Make sure that your prompt is detailed enough. And a good example of this would be like, let's say you want to upload a PDF to ChatGPT. You need to tell it, so I will upload a PDF, and after that, I want you to learn all the content and await my questions. Don't respond yet. Something like that. And then after that, then it will follow your instructions. Otherwise, the minute you upload a document, it will just want to start summarizing it. Yeah, and then you need to suggest the length and format of you want your response. So if you want it to be lengthy, you should say, give me, the output should be, I don't know, 20,000 words. That probably would work, but you can also say, okay, I want you to summarize this, I don't know, this PDF document in 5 bullet points, or in 10 bullet points. I want you to rank it based on importance. These are instructions as to like exactly what you want the output to be. And another trick would be to provide examples and templates so that it can follow. So for example, I would be able to let's say I wanted to write a story for me, or in a specific format. I would copy and paste that story into ChatGPT and then be like, write me a story about certain topic and follow the format above, like follow the style and format, and then it would be able to like provide the output, and it would be more similar to the example that I gave. And then of course I'll leave you with the last point, which is that you should always refine. I find that often you should never just stay with the first response ChatGPT gives you. You should always talk to it more, ask it different questions, and sometimes it might be a question such as, have you considered, etc., or can you one thing that I like would often ask ChatGPT would be, what are non-obvious highlights of this document? And so, because first when it gave me a summary, like if I asked it to summarize a document, it would give me a summary, and then I'd be like, okay, but I want to know what's not obvious, what's like hidden in between the lines, and it does a wonderful job of doing that. Okay, so now we're going to jump to the session where we're going to talk about some of the issues. So navigating the challenges and concerns. So yeah, first thing I want to talk about is that it can be expensive, and it's acquiring technical expertise and implementing AI systems is, yeah, it's costly. And as a small business owner, you're busy running your business, and the knowledge that you may have is for a specific subject, and AI is new. So what would you do? Like, you don't have the money or the budget to like spend all this money on hiring an AI expert, or employees that already know about generative AI. So a simple solution for this, I would say, is that look at cost-effective, user-friendly AI platforms. And an example of this is Canva, where a lot of businesses are already using Canva for their social media graphics. But and digital tools like Canva are actually integrating AI into their platform and introducing new features, such as like, I don't know, create text to image, like create a panda riding a bike, and then you're able to do that, and you're able to edit things based on just text or verbal written prompts. The other concern I find with investment with the constraints are like role adaptation, where as a business you need to like adjust like the roles that you have at your company, and to integrate AI effectively. And for this, I would say, like, simply, you need to encourage your team or yourself, if you're a one-person show, to utilize free and low-cost online learning platforms like Coursera, like YouTube. Why not? Well, you can learn online, and you can improve your skills. And the other thing is that if you encourage your team, your employees to learn, actually, in the end, there are many studies that show that they will be happier, because what generative AI will be doing is they will be reducing the number of mundane admin tasks that usually people don't want to do or are bored of doing, and it doesn't bring them excitement. So if in the end they will be happier at work, and you will also are likely to attract new employees that are like, okay, this business owner gets it, and is up with the times, and things are like interesting at work. I do want to be a part of that organization. Okay, so the second challenge I want to talk about is around data privacy, security, and legal concerns. So we know one of the major challenges is the risk of data sharing. So that involves you or your employee accidentally entering customer information or private business data into these generative AI platforms. And once you enter it, it's gone, and sometimes it may be used to like train the model too. So as a solution for this, like, I would say simply get ahead of it and develop, easy to follow rules on AI tool usage, instead of like, closing your eyes and thinking it won't happen. If you as a business owner, if you have a bunch of employees, like, if you think it won't happen, you'd be surprised. So get ahead, write a AI usage at work policy, and specify how you want to protect your data. Highlight that, okay, you should never enter a customer's email, an address, a name into the information. You need to make it more anonymous, for example, if you're going to be analyzing any information. So yeah, another challenge right here is simply like intellectual property risk, and this goes both ways. So one would be you accidentally, or your employee accidentally, entering proprietary information into ChatGPT or some other generative AI tool, and then it being lost there. Once it goes in, it never comes out, right? So I know, I read an article that different organizations quickly told their employees, like, let's one example is Twitter, or what's called X now. Elon Musk quickly told all its employees, like, I don't want you to be using ChatGPT to like improve the code on Twitter because it's like proprietary. Like the way how the app works, all that all that information would just like be sucked into ChatGPT, and who knows how it could be used in the future. And then there's the issue where, like, if you're, I don't know, writing an article and you think this is the best article you've written and you've later find out that actually the article is very similar to an article that the New York Times wrote like a few years ago, and it's because ChatGPT had scraped the internet and they had and had used that information, and maybe that might have legal concerns for you. But overall, I'd say if you are mindful of this stuff, if you mention, hey, like I am using ChatGPT for this work, you will be better off in terms of like not being caught off guard for liability reasons. Yeah. So as for solutions, I would say easy again. Make sure you have those guidelines, you have those policies that work. And the other thing you can do is be selective of the tools that you choose to work with. Don't just work with some random, untested, unknown AI tool that's out there. Because you need to find out, are they using the data or your data to train the models? Are you able to not make them use their data, like by I don't know, signing an agreement or going up subscribing to a enterprise level or something. There are all these different things that you should explore, and I think with time, the more you understand how the tools work and the landscape, the better you will be at making good decisions. Okay, finally, the final challenge I'll talk about is misuse, hallucinations, and algorithmic bias by generative AI. So one, we know that the lower cost of AI generated content will likely enable the production of deceptive content like deepfakes. And for this, all I have to say is that you or your employees should always review AI generated content to ensure accuracy. Okay? This is like the first thing that I'm trying to drill down here, because it's like whenever you're working with AI, just know that for some reason, sometimes it makes up stuff. So be mindful that not all the information or content that you get from AI is going to be accurate 100% of the time. And a good example of AI hallucinating and making up stuff is right here on the right. I posted an article, a screen grab of an article where the Microsoft AI written travel guide calls the Ottawa Food Bank a beautiful tourist attraction. Microsoft quickly brought down this article after it found out, after it realized what had happened. And the simple reason why this occurred was, one, they should have had people reviewing the work, right? It just can't be like whatever AI produces, just like publish it immediately. You need to have a human reviewer. And if you ask why AI would say such a thing, well, I believe, and I'm 100% sure about this, but I believe what AI noticed was that there was an increase of people visiting food banks in Ottawa specifically, and it's like, oh wow, okay, so everyone is going to this place. Like, before the pandemic, it was at this level of visitors, and now I can track that there's like a spike of 500% more people visiting the food bank. I bet you it's a great tourist attraction, and I shouldn't be laughing, but I think just the reason why it would consider that is very interesting. Okay, yeah, and so as always, a solution is you should make sure you set up guidelines and frameworks for potential issues. For example, like I mentioned, anything that comes out of AI should be in a draft format only. Always there needs to be the human element where you edit things and make sure that it's accurate and not hallucinating. And the other thing would be that whenever you produce content that is has touched AI, you should have a disclaimer. Mention that your content is created by AI and that it may be accurate. And if you notice, a lot of the tools that you're using now, they're doing that. And one of the reasons is to like avoid liability for errors, which is something that, again, Air Canada could have done, to make sure that it can't come off in a difference on the winning side of its chatbot issue. Okay, so how should you be using generative AI? Oh, no. So how can you use generative AI in your business? So first of all, I think the short answer for this is no one really knows yet. We just recommend that you start an experiment. So the first thing to do is that I would say identify like ways that you could potentially use it. So that might be like drafting emails or analyzing sales data. That's what I have been doing. The minute I found I learned about generative AI, I started exploring ways how I could include it into my workflow. I was like, okay, so what can I do? I can, reduce a few hours of, I can just enter this Excel document and it's able to analyze it for me. I can ask it to write articles for me, and then I draft articles and then I end up just putting some finishing touches. Like, that's on you to now go and try to explore ways how you can use generative AI. Yeah, once you've explored ways, okay, how do you think you can use it? Go and select an appropriate AI tool. So I'm saying I think a good place to start is ChatGPT. And that's just because it's like one of those tools where you can use it for multiple reasons, and it's the most advanced one. But another place where a lot of people, it's best that they start is these platforms like Canva that are adding generative AI features. So not only Canva is doing it. The other day I was reading a document on Adobe Acrobat, and I noticed on the right a new feature was summarize this document and ask it questions. So of course I tried it, and I asked it specific questions, and it was able to respond to me if I had been using ChatGPT. Again, once you've done that, once you've identified different tools that you may be able to use, I suggest that you spend at least 15 hours experimenting and getting to know the tool. And yeah, so pay, let's say it's a paid tool, pay for a month usage, and then you make sure you try within that 1 month, try to use it as long as possible. Make sure you get at least 15 hours in, and then you will know whether it's a good tool for your organization or not. Then once you've done, once you identify the use, chosen a tool, experimented, and you're using a tool for a bit, I want you to review, on a regular basis whether the tool is right for you. Maybe there are new tools that are better. Right? Don't get stuck on one platform. There might be a better AI tool that does the same thing that you're using one tool for, but it's the outcome is so much better. But you won't know unless you explore. And yeah, and finally, mind the rules. Ensure the tool is legal, using the tool legally and ethically, but also note that sometimes there may be issues, and you always need to review the output for accuracy. Okay, so where to start for free other than ChatGPT? For this, I'll simply say, I'd say before it was called Microsoft Bing, it had the integration of ChatGPT. So now it's called Copilot, but yeah, that's free. And it uses ChatGPT technology because I don't know if it's if you're aware, but Microsoft owns about 50% of ChatGPT. So they have integrated ChatGPT into their products, and you can use it for various things. Like, there's the AI, they call it a Copilot AI companion. You can ask it everyday questions. But you can also use the designer, vacation planner, cooking assistant, fitness trainer. There's all these different uses that you can use. You can take advantage of for free. And then I'd also suggest that you try Google Gemini. It's Google's most advanced AI technology, and explore ways how you can use it. I used both of them for a task recently where I wanted to find out if I should. Well, if I regularly query these chatbots to see whether they work well. They would work well for a business owner, like perhaps trying to find out whether their business idea is good or not. And I type into Copilot. I live in Airdrie, Alberta. Would opening a picture frame company shop be a good idea, right? And I entered the same in the Google Gemini, and Google Gemini gave me much better responses. It actually analyzed the entire area and said, "Oh, actually, this picture frame shop recently closed. That might be a good idea or a bad idea. It might be good or bad, but it opens up the market for you to be able to invest in that and test out your shop." And it gave me links to where I can go to like help start my picture frame shop business, like the city, and it looked at Reddit posts where people are talking about like how to start a picture frame company and some of the challenges that people might come across. But so yeah, it's definitely a great place to play around with. And here I've provided this list of popular generative AI tools which I've tested. So I would say that if anything, you can take a screenshot of this, and these are good places to you can go and research these different tools. So of course I put ChatGPT here on the left for the text generator the category, and interestingly, ChatGPT can do many other things. Like, for example, DALL-E, which is in the image generator category, is actually integrated into ChatGPT. And ChatGPT will, OpenAI, which is the owner of ChatGPT, will soon have video. So there's all these other overlapping things that ChatGPT can do. So this is why I typically recommend to start with the ChatGPT. Underneath ChatGPT, there's Jasper. But there's also another company called Copy AI, which is used by marketers. So to write content, to edit content, and to be able to like improve, your content development process. And I mentioned Grammarly here, and the reason for it is that they do have a generative AI function. And I know a lot of people use Grammarly. I've been using Grammarly since 2015 or 2016. I'm sometimes writing and it tells me how to improve my writing. I was like, it's such a useful tool. And of course, like it now has generative AI, so you can actually draft your emails or stuff by just clicking on the publish button. For the image category, again, I mentioned Canva because I think that's like very like user friendly for the average business owner. But the best image generator out in the market right now is actually called Midjourney, and it produces the most realistic images, and it's pretty impressive. For audio, I would say use Descript if you want to be doing audio podcasts or you want to edit videos. You want to edit audio or video formats. I use Descript a lot to I create I record a video, and then I edit the video based on the text, which is pretty cool. There's 11 Labs for which is used for cloning. So you can clone your own voice, or you can get Barack Obama to say something, one of your ad to be featured in one of your ads or something. Because there's Suno, which was the platform that I used for the amazing Belize song. And moving on to video, Video.ai is a great platform where you can upload an entire video, and it analyzes the video and gets the best bits to share on social media. So it finds out what are the best parts of the entire video, and it makes them like I don't know, 20 different little social media clips that you can share. Synthesia is also great for video editing, and HeyGen is something similar. Okay, so to wrap up, here are some key takeaways. So as you recall, the main types of categories of generative AI include text, image, audio, and video. AI tools should not replace the human element. It should be used as a supplement to work. And as you know, in the survey, it showed that a lot of people are using it for automation, but without job loss. Prompts are crucial. You know, the better you're able to prompt, the better the instructions you provide to generative AI, the better the outcomes are. You need to understand the limitations, you know, potential issues, accuracy, hallucinations, privacy concerns, and sharing sensitive data. And finally, have fun. You know, explore different ways how you can use generative AI, and you know, you might be surprised how fun it is to to actually, like, you know, make your work, get rid of some of those mundane tasks and produce better quality work. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Lorenzo. That was really, really informative. I think we have some questions in the chat here as well, as we are chatting away while you're presenting. So let's see here. Somebody mentioned they've been using Suno this month to make business jingles and sing silly songs with my grandkids. So that fun piece, that's great. You guys are asking through so there was some chat around AI in high school, students using AI. And there was a mention that there's programs to distinguish AI, like on essays and whatnot. Especially, there was a question around how to use this tool, especially the ethics portion. Can you speak anything around the ethics side of using AI?
Yeah, so what we've found is, or what we've seen is that sometimes the results of what AI has is often will be based on its input. So am I good?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, so if AI is trained on biased information, the output will likely be biased. So this is why I mentioned that when you're working with different generative AI tools, you should be selective about which ones you're using, and just keep up with different, like, you know, read about it, find out that you're on top of the story. And again, if you choose the right tools, it's less likely that it will be like, you know, say discriminatory things and be biased.
How does a business protect themselves from others who may use AI to negatively impact them, such as negative reviews, blogs, or altered pictures of the business?
Yeah, so how likely is that? I'd say I don't know how likely that would be, but I know there's a lot of malicious people out there. I'd say as a starting point, at the moment, we kind of know when a picture is made by AI. Like, you can tell when it's created by AI, and you would be able to get around that story that by also sharing that it's false. But I would say more than anything, stay on top of it, and if you come across that issue, you potentially can always flag it and send a report to the AI tool that they're using.
Another question was, are there any security to these platforms to protect your data, or is it completely open for anyone to use?
So the only one that would be able to see your data would be like the company that made the AI tool. So for example, if I'm using ChatGPT, and I type in information into it, it's only whoever works at ChatGPT that has access to that data. Okay? And they, first of all, I don't know exactly how they're using it, but I know that you can get subscriptions that you tell them not to train AI on your data.
Yeah, because my understanding was if it's free, essentially you're the product, right? Like you're the one feeding the information for people to AI to pull from and access. We're feeding that AI information, right?
Well, that would be for like for Facebook, I believe. But for generative, for ChatGPT specifically, it tells you that that it actually, like, the data that it used was the internet. It wasn't like it's not using your information. It used the internet from, like, I don't know, maybe June 2023 was the last time it was updated.
Another question here was, how as a salon owner would this help me?
Well, I know as a salon owner, you could use it for marketing. You can use it to update your website, create social media posts, create a marketing strategy as a whole. And I think that, like I mentioned, like things like Canva are perfect for small business owners because it's very user friendly and they're integrating AI features into their platform. And this is not a sponsored post.
Did we have another comment here? Oh, question: is your background created by AI, or is that your collection of books?
What do you guys think? No, no, it's definitely a virtual background.
We upload a bunch of photos to make a presentation. Do the photos become owned by the AI company with images? Will the images become public?
So this would be similar to what I mentioned, like when you type in information into ChatGPT, whichever company, it's like Facebook, like whatever you're typing into Facebook, like at the end, like Facebook has access to that information. I'm not sure if they're going to use it, but you use their platform.
So it's not necessarily that other people will access kind of your photos or whatnot. It's just held at their data center.
Yes.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments for Lorenzo?
I have a question. How many of you in the audience is now going to visit Belize because of the cool song that I played?
Well, I mean, if I had a free ticket, maybe.
I'm going because my brother has property there.
Oh, nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I definitely think I'm personally going to play around with some more of those apps too and become a little bit more familiar, but I can definitely see, I know another use is hiring apps, like hiring AI or recruitment AI that, you know, a lot of larger or medium-sized employers have been using. But I really appreciate all those tools that you shared with us, and I could see how small businesses would benefit from that marketing perspective, marketing and promotion through using AI. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lorenzo. We really appreciated this presentation, and we're finishing up a few minutes earlier here. If anyone does have a burning question that they think about after this presentation, definitely feel free to reach out to myself or you know, maybe Lorenzo or Nadine directly, and hopefully we can get that question answered for you. So we'll bring this presentation to a close. Thanks everyone for joining.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks again, Lorenzo. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Great job, guys.